Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. I have the lighting and I have the fan. So the time is approximately 10:21 p.m. and the date is Monday, April 20th, 2020. The sun is in Taurus and the moon is waning in Aries. This is the time period that I refer to as the dark moon tides, which are the 3 nights before the new moon. Although, since the new moon is in 2 days, the dark moon tides began last night, yesterday, Sunday, April 19th, 2020. This is the best, in my not at all humble opinion, it is the best, absolute best time of the lunar month for surrendering and releasing, for eliminating and dissolving, for banishing, and for removing. It is one of my personal favorite periods of the lunar month, and it is, for me personally, a time of high magic for me. And I am looking forward to, the dark moon night, which is tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to the new moon in Taurus. I love that this year the new moon in Taurus is also the same date as Earth Day. So here we have both the sun and the moon in Taurus. And when I first learned of Earth Day's existence, I was like, well, of course it's when the sun is in Taurus. So I think there's something really magical. Those of us who want to preserve and protect the planet Earth, I think there's a prime opportunity for us to weave some ecologically energized magic on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. Just a witch's side note. Anyway, so this has become one of my favorite ongoing series of all of my YouTube videos, and that is doing the tarot and oracle card prompts for the Many Moons Lunar Planner. And I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the cover of the Many Moons 2020 Lunar Planner. I'm really looking forward to Many Moons 2021 Lunar Planner. I know it's not published yet, but it should be in the works. I can always reach out to Sarah Faith Gottes. I keep calling her that, but her name is Sarah Faith Gottsdiner. But Gottes, capital G-O-T-T, no, it's lowercase, I think. Yeah, G-O-T-T-E-S-S is her Instagram username. So I think I'll reach out to her and say, hey, how's 2021 coming along? Anyway, so before I read to you the tarot and oracle card prompts for the month, I've come to realize that when it comes to using tarot decks in my videos, my go-to tarot deck is one of my personal favorite tarot decks, and it's called the Robin Wood Tarot by Robin Wood. This is the back of the cover. This is the back of the card design, and again I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And it's so funny because I just happened to glimpse at the final message card, which is at the bottom of the deck. I'm very happy to know what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you the prompts. And for those of you that prefer oracle cards over tarot cards, you can use tarot. You can use oracle cards. You don't have to use tarot. I think since more people are more familiar with tarot cards than oracle cards, I think that's one of the reasons why she has tarot first. You know, I mean, I could be wrong. And I say that also because I've noticed that even when I've gone into a bookstore and I ask if they have a certain deck, the employee will usually say, you mean a tarot deck? And I'm like, no, it's an oracle card deck. Because there is a difference. But I digress. Anyway, so it reads, tarot or oracle card pull for the month. Tarot or oracle card pull for the month. Pull one card or a series of cards for this month. This is for May 2020. I want to go back to doing it in advance. Suggested spread is a 4-card spread. First card, what is growing? Second card, what the growth feels like. Third card, what containers must be built to serve the growth? And I'm going to say that again. Third card, what containers must be built to serve the growth? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the containers are metaphorical as opposed to literal, or rather figurative as opposed to literal. And the fourth and final card of this spread is, where must the growth stay wild for the moment? When I read that, I immediately thought of Lindsay Mack of The Wild Soul. So anyway, so I'm going to keep the cards the way they are, even though there's a part of me that wants to shuffle the deck again, but I shuffled it thoroughly before we began this video. So, card number 1, what is growing? So I'm going to hold up the card to all of you first. I'm going to deal from the top. I'm going to remove from the top, or reveal from the top. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up, and then I'm going to look at the card, and then I'm going to interpret the card. So what is growing for me, for you, for all of us collectively? The Queen of Cups. So funny because whenever I see the Queen of Cups, I tend to think of Imoja first. Imoja is Brazilian Portuguese, is the Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation of Yamaya. And ever since I watched the motion picture Woman on Top, I can only say Yamaya's name, Imoja. So, Queen of Cups, Imoja. And, you know, the Queen of Cups is one of the counselor cards of the tarot. But what I love about the Queen of Cups is that she is the Queen Mother of the court cards. This is the one who, you know, my awesome audiovisual person is distracting me, and I have no idea why he's distracting me. Because now is not the time for me to be distracted, right? Right. Thank you. Anyway, like I was saying, the Queen Mother, the Queen of Cups is the Queen Mother of the court cards. So she's the one that nourishes, that nurtures. And, you know, in one of my recent videos, which has yet to be uploaded, but it's going to be uploaded soon, I said that it's really, I think it's a damn shame that it took the COVID-19 situation for more people to place an emphasis on self-care. The Queen of Cups is the mother of self-care. She is the goddess of self-care. She's like nourish, nurture. She is a reminder of all the basics. Drink water, spend time in nature, hydrate externally and internally. She's all about that. And of course, given the Queen of Cups' strong connection to the sun sign Cancer and its ruling planet the Moon, she's also about paying attention to one's rhythms and cycles. So, you know, pay attention to how you're feeling. Pay attention to how you're feeling physically, how you're feeling emotionally. And what is growing for us collectively is our awareness of how imperative, and I'm not going to say important, but how imperative it is that we nourish ourselves, that we nurture ourselves, that we take extra special care of ourselves. So I'm going to put that to the side. Card number 2, what the growth feels like. So again, I'm going to hold up the card first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And then I'm going to look at the card and I'm going to interpret the card. So, what the growth feels like. The growth feels like abundance. And I love. It's so funny. You know, as most of you know, my primary pantheon is the Kemetic, or the ancient Egyptian pantheon. And yet, because I consider myself Afro-Cuban by virtue of the fact that my maternal grandmother was a black woman. And then again, anybody who's Caribbean, they have a connection to Africa. I mean, you know, the lineage is there, the ethnicity is there, the DNA is there. So me referring to myself as Afro-Cuban really isn't much of a stretch, and it's not like I'm white. I mean, I'm light-skinned, but I'm not white. So whenever I see the Empress in the tarot, I immediately think of Oshun. I don't think of Het-Heret, the ancient Egyptian goddess more commonly known as Hathor. I think of Oshun. All that gold, all that abundance, you know, and of course, you know, crowned with stars. And look at the gold. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do another close-up of this card. Focus on how much gold there is in this card. You know, gold is one of Oshun's most sacred and beloved metals. Copper and gold are especially sacred to her. She is definitely more of a day goddess than a night goddess. I would associate Imoja more with the night. and Oshun more with the day. And Oya is definitely a night goddess to me, like thunderstorms, lightning at night. You know, she's the dark of night for me. But Oshun is sunrise and sunflowers and golden rays of sunlight and you know, golden liquid light, you know, and Oshun is all about flow. So what this growth feels like is increased abundance. And it's so funny because I was reading something earlier today. Actually, I was reading something yesterday. As you can imagine, I do subscribe to a lot of email newsletters that are very empowering and very spiritually inspirational and uplifting. And there was one that I read that really was a surprise. In fact, I was surprised because I could have sworn that I unsubscribed to it. And I think the great goddess was like, no, you're going to keep receiving it for a little while. And what I read in that email is actually going to be something that I'm going to read in another upcoming video, because it moved me so much, and it really is a reflection of how imperative it is that we keep growing and we keep moving forward, regardless of what's happening on the planet right now. And you know, I remember going back to something, and I remember thinking to myself, you know what, I cannot make excuses for my life because of COVID-19. I cannot say to people, well, I can't do this right now because of COVID-19. So if I can't do something right now, that doesn't mean that I can't prepare for it. And what I'm noticing is that I've been preparing for things, and now I'm moving forward in certain endeavors, and I'm preparing to move forward in those endeavors. And I'm preparing, and I'm being prepared to move forward, and to be moved forward in a whole new direction. And, you know, it is no coincidence that right now the sun is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. And for those of us that look at the sacred tarot, astrologically speaking, we know that the Empress card is astrologically aligned with the planet Venus. So I feel like right now we are in a cycle of moving forward, and that cycle is going to begin now. It's beginning, well, technically it began, you know what, I don't need to struggle. I can actually look this up. It began yesterday when the sun entered Taurus. So even though these are the tarot and oracle card prompts for May, this is about right now. So this is a cycle that began yesterday, Sunday, April 19th, 2020, and is going to continue until the last day of the sun's transit in Libra this year, which would be somewhere around October 21st. Because that's usually the last day, most years, when the sun is in Libra, because usually by the following day the sun is in Scorpio. Okay, so trust that abundance is already increasing in your life. And it's not a coincidence that yesterday I heard from a client that I had not heard from in a long time, and I was like, wow. Anyway, so, and yes, she's going to have a reading with me. Okay, so card number 3, what containers must be built to serve the growth? So again, revealing from the top, showing all of you first, having my awesome audiovisual person do an amazing close-up, and then I'm going to look at the card and interpret the card. What containers must be built to serve the growth? The containers are literal and figurative. So the literal containers are candles. Because remember, it's the Knight of Wands, so it corresponds to the element of fire. So candles. You know, and it's so funny because candles, in virtually every religion on the planet, candles are an integral part of it. And so is incense, for that matter, which I find interesting. But yeah, it's like, so candles, and it's so funny because just earlier today I thought to myself, you know what, I need to light more candles in my home. I need to light more candles on my altars. I need to light more candles in different parts of my home. The bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, the altars, the kitchen. And it's so funny because, you know, in my part of the world it's spring. So it is, you know, Sunrise is a little bit earlier. Sunset is a little bit later. So we're moving in the direction of the summer solstice, at least again in this part of the world. So I know that there's more light outside, but I think that there needs to be more light inside. Yeah, I'm listening to what I'm saying. Thank you. And I keep, even though this card represents Sagittarius energy, I keep tuning into the polar opposite energy, which is Gemini. So this is also about creativity being the container. So what containers must be built to serve the growth? The containers of candle holders filled with candles, and the container called creativity. So if you have not reached out to your goddesses and spirits of creativity, this is a great time to do so. And I immediately heard of Sarasvati. I love Sarasvati. Sarasvati is one of my personal favorite creativity goddesses. And it's not as if the ancient Egyptian pantheon does not have any creativity goddesses. But the one that is my first and foremost in my mind, even more than Briid, is Sarasvati. There's something wild and flowing about, well, actually, I think Sarasvati's name means the flowing one. So Sarasvati is all about flow. Anything that you want to flow in your life, not unlike Oshun, because Oshun governs everything that flows. Money, love, juice, blood, semen, vaginal fluids. Anything that flows, she governs. With the exception of the ocean water. That's the province of her mother in some sources, sister in other sources, Imoja. So yes. Okay. Where must the growth stay wild for the moment? Once again, I will turn up the card, turn over the card. I will have my awesome audio-visual person do a close-up of said card. And then I will look at the card, and then did you do a close-up? Are you sure? Okay. And then I will look at the card and interpret it. So again, where must the growth stay wild for the moment? For the moment. For the moment. Three of Cups. So if I'm going to literally interpret this from a time period perspective, for the next 3 months, that growth must remain wild. For the next 3 months, because traditionally, as a time period, cups represent months. A Three of Cups card would represent 3 months from the time of the reading. So let's say we're going to go with the actual date. So today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. So from April 20th to May 20th, 1 month. From May 20th to June 20th, 2 months. From June 20th to July 20th, 3 months. So between today, Monday, April 20th, and whatever day of the week, July 20th, 2020 is, that's where this growth must remain wild for the moment. In other words, and I'm going to say it like I'm being divinely directed to say it like this, whatever you are not allowing yourself to receive, allow yourself to receive it. And do not put somebody in the awkward and uncomfortable position of having to shove your blessings down your throat. Because they're not going to want to do it. I'm more than happy to do it, by the way. Call me, I'll help you. No, all joking aside, allow yourself to receive those blessings. Allow yourselves to receive that abundance, that prosperity, that healing, that joy, that restoration, that peace, that divine order. And it's so funny because when I first began, and I want to say it was Open Your Mind to Receive by Dr. Catherine Ponder, there were certain spiritual decrees that began with, I am receiving now. For example, I am receiving now, I am receiving the strengthening of my intuition. Or, I am receiving now, I am receiving so many wonderful new clients. Whatever it is that you have been reluctant to allow yourself to receive it now. And the final message card is the High Priestess. And again, I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the card. This is, without a doubt, one of my personal favorite High Priestess cards. She is so witchy woman. there's a song by the Eagles called Witchy Woman, and the Witchy Woman song is the embodiment and the personification of the High Priestess, in my not at all humble opinion. So, and it really is one of the most beautiful High Priestess cards I've ever encountered. So allow your intuition to be very strong right now. You know, Taurus has an indirect connection or an indirect relation to the High Priestess card. The lunar horns, like the horns of a bull. So there's definitely a heightening of intuition while the sun is in Taurus. And I've been saying for years that I've never met a Taurus who's not a psychic witch. So if your sun sign is Taurus, by all means allow your intuition to blossom, to bloom, to grow, to expand. And if your sun sign is not Taurus, and if you don't have any planets in Taurus, then use this solar transit in Taurus to allow your intuition to expand, grow, flourish, bloom, and blossom. As always, YouTube, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. I invite you to engage in the Sacred Tarot or in your favorite Oracle card deck and do this spread for yourselves. I'm sure some of you have noticed that since the April or the March 2020 Many Moons videos, I now will transcribe the names of each placement in the description box. I'm going to be doing that going forward, and then more than likely what I'll do is I'll transcribe it for all the other ones as time permits. Because even though I have more free time, well, actually I don't have more free time. A lot of people have more free time, but I'm not one of them, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But if this reading resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. And remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. May the great goddess bless you and yours with love, life, money, and magic. And good night.